Hello everyone and welcome to the astrology update for November. I'm so glad you're tuning into these videos. And today I'm going to talk about the astrology of November, obviously, and the overall theme. I want to approach it a bit differently this time. I want to approach it from the perspective of what we are given the chance to go through in this period as we are going through this big transformation, this big shift, energetic shift, this great up level that we are all experiencing collectively and individually. But how can we use these energies that are present to us? Because this is what astrology actually does. It tells us which energies are present at a certain time so that we can use that energy and work with it. Otherwise, we might feel that we are being worked with, and sometimes we don't know how to use these energies. So, this is why astrology is kind of like a map to guide us through the things that are happening, the energies that are available, and so that we can go through them and that we can use it for our personal transformation, because we are going through a period where we are being asked to purge a lot, to let go of a lot of things, to really become newer versions of ourselves. And so much light and so much potential is coming in. And because that is happening, there is so much of all the old energies that are present so that we can see what needs to be released. So in November, the major theme that's kind of like happening in the background is that we still have this water trine happening, especially between Saturn at the last degrees of Pisces and Jupiter in the last degrees of Cancer. They are forming a trine. And we are currently in the Scorpio season. So there's a lot of water energy in the air, and Neptune is also in Pisces. So we are going through this water energy, and that means a lot of emotions are coming up, a lot of feelings and sensitivity, and finding ways to lean into our sensitivity and to lean into how we can understand our sensitivity as a superpower, how we can lean into compassion, how we can use the compassion as something that is constructive for us and for the world. So there is this big theme of water that's present, and because it's a trine, it's this harmonious aspect, so we feel supported in this emotional release, and there needs to be a lot of emotional releasing happening, and it's happening faster because overall the energy is faster. So we are going through these waves of releasing the old, and also water is very healing, so it's bringing a lot of healing and a lot of support for us to go through healings of whatever needs to be healed. And this is the theme that's happening in the background this month. And then one of the main things that's happening in November is that Mercury is going to go retrograde. And it's going to go retrograde from the 9th of November until the 29th of November. So as Mercury is approaching its retrograde, we are already in this pre-retrograde phase, and then we'll be afterwards in the post-retrograde phase. But it's during these 3 weeks, and we have these Mercury retrogrades for 3 weeks every 3 to 4 months. And this is a necessary process where when Mercury is going direct, everything is kind of going direct in our life. Our everyday routines, our communications, our emails, our businesses, our payments, everything's kind of flowing more. And then when Mercury goes retrograde, things get disrupted, and they get disrupted so that we can see where we are holding tension or attachments to some of these things. So what is brought up when things are not functioning the way we are used to. And this is the gift of the Mercury retrograde if we can recognize it. So that's why it's very good to know how to work with it, because if we just approach Mercury retrograde from the perspective of, oh, Mercury is retrograde and I'll just wait for it to be over and I'll just, not do anything, or I'll just be annoyed while it's lasting, then we are not using the opportunity of what is actually being presented. And what is being presented is, if something is delayed, what does it bring it up in us? Does it bring annoyance? Does it bring some kind of beliefs? Does it bring some kind of old stories? Do we feel like, nothing's ever going my way, or I always have to wait, or I'm always stuck? These kinds of things are brought up to the surface so that we can see them. And when we can see them, then we can bring awareness to it, obviously, and then we can transform it gently by just pausing in that second and saying, okay, I'm being annoyed, but what is the gift here? Maybe I'm waiting in line in the bank and I can just use this time to, instead of always getting annoyed in these situations, I can just reflect on my day, or I can try and look around and see, is there something beautiful that I can connect to? Or maybe I can exchange a moment with somebody next to me, or I can connect to my breath. There are always these moments that we cannot see when everything's going smoothly, when Mercury is in direct motion. But when things get disrupted, then we are offered these moments where we can either get annoyed, or we can pause and see what is offered to us in this pause. So this is the gift of any Mercury retrograde. And this season, Mercury is going retrograde from Sagittarius to Scorpio. So it's going from Sagittarius, which is all about finding the light, sharing the light, going after the big truth, but it's kind of dragging us back into the Scorpio waters of deep transformation. And also Scorpio is all about control. So where are we afraid to lose control? Because Scorpio is afraid to lose control, very much so. It wants to be in control, and we have sometimes with Scorpio energy, we have power dynamics happening. So where is it hard for us to let go? Where is it hard for us to release the control because we feel that if we let go, if we loosen our grip onto things, everything will fall apart. So these are the themes that are present with Scorpio, with Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. And so we can be aware of this whenever there's a delay in some aspect of our life. And that's the Mercury in retrograde. So that's going to be pretty much, we're already feeling that, and we're going to be feeling that through the entire November. And then on the 5th of November, we have a full moon in Taurus, which is a very beautiful full moon. And it's kind of like bringing a bit of grounding into all this water energy and into this Scorpio intensity. So we have this opportunity to ground, to connect to our body, to slow down, to engage into things of Taurus, and that is anything that's sensual, anything that's beautiful, anything that's bringing a sense of calm and security, we can tune into that and um, really feel what makes us feel safe and grounded. Because with so much um, water going on and all the other elements are present, but the earth element is not so present at the moment, so we need to consciously ground and feel connected to the body. And on the 4th, the day before, Mars goes into Sagittarius. So Mars is currently in Scorpio. It has already been forming that trine with Jupiter and Saturn. So it's going through these. Mars in Scorpio is very powerful and it gave us a lot of momentum. And now in Sagittarius, it's even more inspired to go forward and to seek new adventures, to strive for that higher thing, higher purpose, and to see like where we want to go, and to be inspired by something greater than us, and to what we want to bring, to see the goal that we have, and then we can go and follow that goal. And then on the 7th of October, Venus is moving into Scorpio. So we have a lot of Scorpio energy in November. And whenever we have Scorpio, and these are all personal planets going through Scorpio, there is this moment of connecting to the depth of our own psyche, also connecting to the ancestors, to the other worlds, and to, because the veil is so thin. That's the expression that's always used during the Scorpio season, because other worlds just seem closer, and everything, we kind of feel this mysticism in the air, especially in the northern hemisphere, with autumn present and the nature slowly falling away. We feel the sense of decay, we feel the sense of things passing away. So this kind of opens us up to other worlds. And because we have so much water energy, we are more intuitive, we are more sensitive to all these things. So we have the opportunity to, because anyway, our senses are opening up, our sensitivity is opening up, and with so much water energy, we can really lean into how do we use this sensitivity. And to one aspect of too much water can be feeling very heavy and feeling overwhelmed with so much emotions, and feeling that we are too sensitive and that we need to shut ourselves from the world, or that we somehow need to protect ourselves. But then we kind of lose a sense of our own power, of agency that we have. So to learn to work with so much water, we need to have, on the other hand, awareness of the sensitivity, and how we can use it, how we can utilize this sensitivity to open up to receiving messages, to receiving guidance, to use whatever tools are appropriate for us to receive more guidance. Whether that guidance is coming from the trees, whether it's coming from the angelic beings, whether it's coming from our ancestors, whether it's coming from our higher self, whether it's coming from the Creator, whatever feels to us that we are receiving guidance from. And also to be open to have it come from new sources as well. We can open this side up more in this period and understand that our sensitivity is a blessing. It is here to serve us. Because we are so sensitive, we can receive blessings and we can receive guidance. And when we are receiving these guidances, we can also know that we are protected in this. We are receiving something that is going to take us to the right places. So yes, it's important to take care of our energy and have energetic hygiene, but we are not here to be protected from the world. We are here to participate in the world and to understand that we have so much power and so much radiance coming from the inside that we are here to share it with others. And so we use the sensitivity to kind of receive the guidance, also to tune into others to see how they are doing. And this gives us an information of what another person needs. And so we are using this water element, or we can use this water element to help us become these channels of how we receive, and we receive so we can share with others. We are just these channels to share the healing, to share the energy, to share a word that is going to bring something to the other person. We don't know what it is, but when we become more open and when we trust the channel, then we can use this and we can see our gifts come online to do this. So with so much water, there's a great opportunity to learn to use our intuitive gifts and to open up to intuition and to guidance and to nature, and to learn that sensitivity is our gift and not something that makes us weak in any way in the world. If anything, it actually makes us strong. It gives us this incredible power to feel others and to share with others. So another major moment in November is that Uranus is going retrograde for one last time into Taurus. So it moved into Gemini earlier this year, and now it's moving back into Taurus for the final wrap up until the beginning of next year. And it's finishing this long cycle that started in 2018. So it's kind of like finishing up whatever started in this 8-year period in your life. So whatever was happening in 2018 is now coming to an end. And also with Neptune at the end of Pisces, Saturn at the end of Pisces, we have these big wrapping ups of themes. We are closing these big chapters. So this theme of closing these themes of things coming up again, something that we think we might have already gone through so many times. These things are coming up for one last moment for us to kind of see them and then let go of them. And it's a faster process. So even if we feel we've been through something so many times, if we just allow it to pop up in our awareness and then hold it gently there, and just give ourselves compassion for the fact that we are going through this again, even though we feel like we've been here so many times. We can go through this quite fast, and we are going quite fast because there needs to be a lot of wrapping up for the new energy that's coming up next year. So things are getting cleaned fast, and we can just allow like these patterns sometimes that come up, and we can see them more clearly and become more aware of them, but we don't need to hold on to them as tightly. And we can also sense that some of these patterns are not necessarily, they used to be charged. For example, we used to get very emotional about certain things, but now it's more like this leftover pattern. It's just something that we learned to behave or to think in a certain way, but there's no charge behind it as much. So that doesn't mean that we need to skip over it just because there's no charge. It's not getting our attention as much, but because we can see the pattern, that it's still there even though it doesn't have the charge, we can just gently give it attention and say, okay, I see you. I don't need this anymore. I'm choosing differently, and not push it away, but just like give it attention, give it love, give it blessing, and just choose differently. Choose differently in the moment. So if my mind goes into this direction, if I'm going through some argument I had 7 years ago with someone, I can just see that and go, okay, I don't need this. I bless this person. I am choosing light, and I will not repeat this pattern, even if it's just in my mind, just some background noise. But just give it attention, give it light, and let it move away. So things can be moved and removed. We can move through things much more quickly. Okay, so then we have Mercury going retrograde from November 9th to November 29th. And then on November 12th, we have Jupiter going retrograde in Cancer. And it's trining Saturn in Pisces. Saturn and Jupiter are in tight trine this whole month, which is, again, this, I already talked about the water element, but it's kind of like giving us structure for, like, to find solid foundations to create compassion, to create empathy. But what I was describing earlier, if we have solid foundations on the inside, we don't need to feel that we need to protect ourselves on the outside. So building these solid foundations on the inside, this is the opportunity to do so that we can be these loving, gentle beings on the outside when we have this solid foundation on the inside. And also when we have a solid spiritual practice and spiritual tools that guide us through this, because Saturn is in Pisces, it's requesting that we build these solid spiritual foundations and solid tools that can guide us in this period. Because without the solid spiritual connection, we tend to get too caught up in what's happening around us, and we tend to believe that this is our whole reality. And it's only when we open up to the greater reality that we can access this connection all the time and find it easier to navigate what's happening here, when we know that we can at the same time have this greater perspective and see that things are happening for a certain reason. So having this connection is a very important part of this transit, of this whole year and the years to come. So this is a time to build solid spiritual foundations. And then what else? We have a new moon in Scorpio on November 20th. and it's in this, it's touching this water trine. So it's like at the end of Scorpio, it's also conjunct Mercury retrograde. So it's this very potent new moon, very beautiful, full of this water energy, and it's starting something new. So everything I just said, like this is the seed level when we have been shedding, processing, letting go, releasing, leaning into our sensitivity. This is the moment of setting the seed or setting the intention for the next cycle to go there with more sensitivity, with more openness. And then November 22nd, Sun moves into Sagittarius, so the Sagittarius season starts. But we are still not finished with the water, because on the 23rd, Mercury touches the grand water trine, and then on November 26th, Venus touches this grand water trine. So we are getting this water trine is very personal in this season, and it's teaching us how to become more sensitive and how to be more healing. And then another big thing is that on the 28th, Saturn goes direct in Pisces. And Saturn has been in retrograde, and we have kind of been going through things more internally and building the internal structure. And when Saturn goes direct, we have the opportunity to kind of move with it. Because Saturn moves very slowly, doesn't mean that we will move fast, but we have from the end of November till the middle of February next year, we have this period to really wrap up everything in this cycle of Pisces that we've been moving through in the last 3 years of Saturn being there. So whatever has been happening, whatever endings you've been going through, whatever grief, whatever endings are a big theme, because Pisces is the last sign. So whatever endings need to happen, now is the time to really let it go and to move forward into this Saturn moving into Aries next year, where it's all going to be about forward momentum. But now is this time to bring a closure to whatever structures are not coming with us further. And then November ends with Mercury going direct in Scorpio. And so there's a lot of changing of energy happening in November, but at the same time, it's predominantly this water energy that's helping us move through the emotions, move through sensitivity, and let go of the old. So thank you once again for tuning in, and I hope this serves you well, and I hope you have a beautiful November, and I hope you dive into these waters with intention, and I hope they help you heal and move through things. Thank you.